Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, we're coming up Aces. Mortis Aces, that is, as we set our sights on Viabo 6. And you know, I will say, I do more or less remember what happens here from Alpha, though as always I am curious to see what might have changed. And then if we've got time left over after, we'll set our sights on Odanithus 11. Though I do suspect Viabo 6 will require our full attention. Oh, no event. That's a rarity. And not much in the way of routes either, aside from the one to Odanithus. Alright, let's see what we got. Lord Catton, we have cross-referenced the key characteristics of the system with our astronautical chart data. The planet Viabo 6 is located here. The problem is, the augurs detect an unusual change in the atmosphere, not unlike a massive release of toxins. It appears that something unfortunate has happened to the planet's underground storage facilities. It's impossible to land safely on the planet just now. Unknown ships are cruising in the system. No need for any cog to analyze it. I can decipher this telemetry easily. Xenos. The armory and artillery crews are standing by. Well, let's not get Drukhari'd away, but yeah, probably a safe bet to prepare for trouble. And you know what? Maybe make it double. To protect our worlds from devastation. Alright, folks. To battle station. These things were a pain in the aft back in Alpha. I'll be curious to see if they're still as obnoxiously evasive as they were back then. Which is honestly the main reason I remember this part at all, is because of those goofy invulnerability fields. Let's see here. Shadow Field. An eerie and unfathomable haze obscures the vessel. Enemies suffer a minus 25% penalty to hit chance when attacking from within a 2-cell range, and a 75% penalty to hit when attacking from outside that range. The field is removed upon firing and has a chance to be re-engaged at the start of the ship's turn. Okay, yeah, you know what? That is actually easier to handle. Still a bit obnoxious, but definitely not full immunity to damage obnoxious. Especially since, as someone who actually did run a Drukhari army back in 3rd edition, I recall pretty much all Drukhari vehicles basically just being made of spite and tinfoil. Also, as per a couple of comments, I did go ahead and equip that Wrath of Janus torpedo launcher. Apparently it can drop a salvo every round, so that really kind of makes the plasma autoloader at least temporarily redundant. Yeah, see, like even that glancing hit there still chipped off a fair chunk of their hull. The real trick, honestly, is going to be trying to avoid getting attritioned to death. Drukhari are crazy fast and maneuverable. They're all about hit-and-run tactics. But, you know, hopefully they'll go after that guy.
Smite the enemies of humanity!
My goodness. Well, that didn't last long, but you know what? Better them than us. And yes, I have been reassured that we will get a new one every fight. The Imperial Navy apparently has sword frigates to spare. There it is. Oh, man. Wow, yeah, these guys are actually a bit more lethal than I was expecting. But their shields are down. Let's take them out. Argenta, torpedoes. We'll go for the one in lead. Oh, yeah, look at that. My goodness. So, yeah. Fueled by pain, held together by spit and string. Classic Dark Eldar. Yes, and torpedoes back up. Goodbye. Man, that does bring back memories. Frickin' Dark Eldar. I mean, I played them before all of the later edition refinement. And they had vast fleets of their hover raiders, their spiky jet bikes, their hellions on what amounted to flying surfboards. Looked crazy cool on the battlefield. Exploded if you even looked at them sideways. Nah, they were all about, I think, I forget the specifics, but it was something about exactly how the overrun and flanking rules worked back then that made them good. You know, you had to get into the right positioning or overrun your foes. But if you got into an actual knockdown, drag-out brawl, you were done. A peculiar settlement. This planet can barely sustain life, and yet searches discovered a long-lost Imperial colony, one that was cut off from the rest of the galaxy centuries ago. The colonists live in conditions worse than any underhive, yet they still venerate the Emperor and gladly welcome their visitors. The Lord Captain receives an invitation from the local ruler, the Archqueen, Princeps Domina. Sure, why not? Always happy to see what the locals have thrown together. The ruler meets the Lord Captain in a shack, considered to be a palace by the people here. The Archqueen's unusual crown is made out of metal coils, most likely parts of an ancient device for boiling water. The guests are served the finest delicacies the colony can provide. The Archqueen praises the visitors in mangled Low Gothic and calls the Lord Captain her dear brother. At the end of the audience, gifts are presented to the guests. The Archqueen's minister delicately remarks that the best possible gift the Lord Captain and his crew could provide would be the replenishment of the colony's meager gene pool. I mean, really, I feel like Valen would respect these folks for their perseverance. They're in a really crappy situation, and they have absolutely made the most of it. So yeah, by all means. I'm sure we have at least a few genuine volunteers who wouldn't mind staying behind, eking out a new life here on this unnamed Savannah world. Goodness knows it's almost certainly got a higher survival rate than working on my ship. Well, if you're a no-name anyway. The named characters get plot armor. The Archqueen is delighted and flattered. She hopes the Lord Captain will pay her more visits in the future. Hey, I'd be happy to. I'd love to see you guys actually progress. Actually, can I, No. See, that's disappointing. I mean, to be brutally honest, odds are I'd say at least a coin toss, that they'd even still be alive if and when we ever came back by, but, you know, it'd still be nice to get a bit of follow-up or closure, I suppose, on at least a few of these points of interest. Anyway, let's push on to our main event. Viabos 6. Let us investigate this toxic work environment. Swift and merciless retribution is a proper fate for many transgressors, but the Imperium permits using the convicts for hard labor on distant prison worlds like Viabos 6. To atone for their crimes before humankind, hundreds of thousands of rogues and lowlives toil in the mines of the Von Valancius Protectorate until death from exhaustion, or some other unfortunate accident claims their forsaken souls. Neat. Sounds really nice. Let's get in there. And this is the pits. So this is where they made Pepsi Blue. I always wondered. Used to love that stuff.
Viabos 6 always was a penal world. But this, even the miscreants of this place do not deserve such a fate.
The man's body is frozen in an unnatural pose. The corpse's fingers are crooked, and its teeth are bared in a ghastly grimace. Imperial Guard, obey your orders. Do your duty. Stand your post. Would you like to know more? The broken, slashed, and gutted body is still covered with the shreds of a planetary warden uniform. The caustic ooze gives off a sickening vapor that eats away at the lining of your nose and mouth, making your eyes water. This man clawed at his throat right before he died. Oh man, that does take me back. I miss you, Pepsi Blue. You may not have been the finest beverage on the market, but you are certainly the bluest. Delicious poison. The bodies have been twisted into a pose resembling a servile bow and bound with barbed wire. You can clearly see several thin cuts left by bladed weapons on the body. Gentlemen, look at it. Where'd they get all this stuff? Who are they? Have the Dark Ones found the governor at last? The tall, light Xenos moves with the grace of an otherworldly predator. The creature gives you a dispassionate glance and casually speaks a few words that are immediately picked up by your elucidator. Macandis, Aelith, what is this? Has one of the sisters found an amusing trinket in the ruins and saved it as a special treat for the Archon? The Xenos takes a quick look over her shoulder toward the platform, where a few more silhouettes in tar-black armor can be seen. My name is Valen von Valancius, rogue trader of the Von Valancius Protectorate. And this is apparently one of my worlds. So imagine my surprise when I came here to find it like this. I have to wonder, who are the soon-to-be-dead Xenos that have taken to playing Lord on Viabos 6? The Xenos' eyes light up with interest. The Monkey understands my speech. Where did you come by that device that can translate our language? Are you trying to impress me by appearing useful? Such words will earn you a bout in the ring at most, without weapons and, soon, without your skin. Adira spits on the ground. If I'd been the one holding the device, she and I would have had words. I'd make sure the stuck-up bitch knew exactly what I think of her. The humans scattered around you on the platform stare as if they've seen a ghost. The eyes of some betray their fear, others glare with bestial hatred. And yet more look upon you with hope. No names then? Ah, just as well. Probably would have misspelled it on your graves. My name is known to everyone on this planet, Monkey. I am Tazara the Deliverer, Tazara the Benevolent, the one who grants respite from the choking grasp of this world. I decide who lives, who dies, and who finds new purpose for their existence in Kamarag's many arenas. Surely this is why you have come here, to fight for my ever-changing favor, and for the privilege of being the first to be chained? Yurliet chuckles haughtily. Such grandiose names for a soulless wretch who tortures the breathless and torments the powerless. Your words hint at a nobility you have never possessed. Cousin, what are you doing among this rabble? What an unexpected and tantalizing surprise! Tazara licks her lips hungrily. I cannot wait to take you in my arms and clasp you tightly to me. Do not waste your breath on lies. Only the faint vestiges of blood connect the Asuriani and the Dark Ones, such as yourself. Hey, so I saw the luminescent ocean of toxic acid on my way in. Your handiwork, I take it? It could be. Or perhaps my mere presence is enough to make base creatures like yourself forget how to breathe. Tazara lets out a nasty chuckle. Are you really surprised at what happened? You wove the net right under your own feet. We merely knocked out the pin that drew it closed tight around you. A couple of volleys at the seals on the underground well, and the planet, the one you had turned inside out, did the rest.
I hereby declare you a Category 3 blasphemer for tampering with the sacred production cycle of this world's extractiums.
The drill on Pascal's mechadendrite springs to life with a howling screech. And your brethren finished what the planet had started. Oh, how they strive to please me and my entourage. How they slaughtered and tortured their own kin for mine and my sister's delight. How they decorated this little arena with still living Monkey. Did you think all that you see before you is the work of our hands? Think again. Yeah, people are gross, preaching to the choir here. But you are also gross, so, you know. This true? You people turned against your own just for a chance at survival? A hulking brute who can barely stand coughs up blood and wipes his lips. What, was I supposed to lie down and die? The ones who survived the arena, the Xenos take them away. I saw humans boarding shuttles with my own eyes. They're gonna take us away from here, you hear?
This statement is false. You were supposed to furnish yourself with a means of respiratory protection and inflict maximum damage on the perpetrators before ceasing your vital functions.
Yeah, who gives a shit about us convicts? The lanky buggers may keep me on a leash, but at least I'll be alive, not coughing up my lungs. How cruel you are to your unfortunate kin. These Monkey have worked hard to entertain their elite audience. Each of them fights with a strength born of desperation, seeking to earn their place in my box of toys. There is always room for more. My toys do break so very easily. To be reduced to a Xenos' plaything. A shameful fate for the scions of humankind. Abelard falls silent, shaking his head in dismay. You know, Taz, the only reason you're still alive right now is because, fool that I am, I thought you might actually say something useful before I plugged you. But hey, I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. You may not realize it yet, but you're already dead. You died the second we crossed paths. The only real question is how long it takes you to realize it. Am I not paying for our mischief already? Am I not saving the worthiest among your kin? Gifting them the right to die for the delight of my brothers and sisters? What kind of aberrant ingratitude is this? From the dusk behind Tazara comes a cry. The distance between you and the Xenos is too great for the elucidator to interpret the words. But the tone alone speaks of irritation and impatience. Tazara raises her blade and points at you. Tell the other Monkey that whoever slits your throat will depart for their new home ahead of schedule. And tell them to hold nothing back. Tonight they dance for Euremerus herself, the great Archon of the Cabal of the Reaving Tempest. Well, gentlemen, I've got bad news. Turns out your mistress here is throwing your lives away. But if you're willing to play ball, then I stand ready to catch them. Or if you'd prefer, I could just drop you where you stand. So what's the play? Guaranteed death? Or life with a chance for parole? Exhausted and defeated faces trade worried glances. The hulking brute next to you hesitates, then spits and breaks into a grin. We're gonna die anyway. Might as well do it without the heretic's brand. Slay the beast! Tazara emits a furious scream and takes a step back, signaling to her companions. And here we go. Ambushed? Am I? Are you sure about that? But yeah, first fray against the Dark Eldar, who, from what I recall, pretty much play the same way their vehicles do. Speed, momentum, hard-hitting, but essentially glass cannons. Assuming you can actually land a hit. That said, we do actually have the odds stacked pretty heavily in our favor here. Pask and Abby might struggle, but the rest of our characters will have no trouble actually landing hits. And we've got plenty of cannon fodder on the field to slow these guys down. Honestly, Pask and Abby are mostly just running interference too. They're not going to have much luck actually landing hits on these guys, so we'll have them primarily focused on support. Yeah, that seems about right. Cassia, and yeah, she got hammered with nerfs in the latest patch. First off, you might notice she did not get her free half turn at the beginning of battle. They completely changed how that talent works. But we do still get the Grand Strat initiative boost. And then Adira, yeah, she just cuts right past these guys' defenses. She is the Drukhari's Bane. Damage, debuffs, and DOTs. And then Reveal the Light, yeah, that one got nerfed too. I believe it's still decent, but now I think it's like half potency. Pull. Fortunately, I don't think there was much in the way of changes as far as the forced move abilities go. I think the only thing they really changed there is fixing it so inherently immobile enemies like turrets can no longer be force moved, which is fine. Would have been funny to see, but obviously not working as intended.
I'm not so sure. But of course.
Woe to you! Pain is all.
Oof. Hang in there, guys. I believe in you. Oh, shit. Okay.
Let's get to
you know,
it.
I guess I should have seen that coming. Yeah, I guess Adira would have pulled some aggro there. What with the double force lightning and all.
If I must.
Let's burn him down.
This tedium is beneath me.
Oh! Sorry. I mean, I am. Yurliet absolutely is not.
Your last stroke of luck. You will pay for this.
Okay, guys, come on now. I already said I was sorry.
No! These ruby flashes
Oh, you dingle dog.
choking me.
Yeah, this is already getting way messier than I would have liked. I call shotgun.
Woe to you.
Joke's on you, jerkwad. I might be a sniper, but I can slug it out if I have to. Oh man, there is a talent, though, that I really wish I'd picked up before we came in here. It's one I've had on Valen's list for a while now. But, alas, 'tis not to be. We'll just have to make do with what we've got.
You call this a strike?
I'm here, maggot.
Your last.
Here we go.
You will pay for this in blood.
Okay. Starting to get some return on these gladiators. Abby, I'm going to need you to keep these guys off me. No, wait. Adira is bleeding out. Let's get her patched. She's double DOT'd, poison plus mono wires. But that should keep her going for now. Abby's in. Nice ding. You'll notice I swapped out the serrated greatsword for the fancy chainsword and power axe we picked up during our last big trade session. Pascal, just need you to try to pin these guys down.
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all.
Yeah, that's fine. Cass? Let's pull... Pull towards back center.
You call this a strike?
Okay, yeah, I can live with that.
Your day is approaching.
Nice. nope, that was the wrong one. Really gotta move those two farther apart. Embrace eternity.
Disgrace.
Target out. Adira up next. How are we doing on those DOTs?
Your last stroke of luck.
Okay, painful, but not mortal. Largely thanks to Abby's foresight.
On it.
Yes, okay, good. That should clear the DOTs. Sense it, Captor. And just enough for a guaranteed kill. Let's shuffle over, go for the gunslinger. I'm bored of this farce, Tazara. Archon Euremerus! Drakon Marazai, you know the danger of repeating this. Your word is your command, Archon Euremerus. I thought they were too far for the Elucidator. The narrator lied. Interesting assortment of characters, though.
Pain is all.
Oh, jeez. Come on.
Out of my way.
Alright, well, Val's gonna drop from that DOT, but that's fine. We're almost done. Just stay on task. We'll bury the trauma. Story of my life.
You will pay for this in blood.
I am not your Xenos pet, Monty.
Hold on. Let's get to it.
Time to slaughter someone.
Oh!
Woe to you.
Okay, now Valen's out. Could have just waited for the poison, but, you know. Head trauma. That's the most annoying one. It's cool, though. Abby, avenge your master!
You call this a strike?
Oh, man, I love that. You know, the combat in this game is kind of a mess. Hence the constant, massive mechanical overhauls, but, one thing I definitely feel like they did get right is the impact. The sense of impact on those knockback attacks. We've had two really good ones this fight. That hammer just now, but also the point-blank shotty earlier. Makes the pain worth it. You gotta enjoy the little things, you know?
High momentum.
Bolt.
Your last stroke of luck.
Abby. Abby, you want to finish this up for us? Avenge me! Avenge me!
Indeed.
Hey, I'm alive. The surviving fighters turn their heads towards you, one after another. All eyes on the battlefield are glued to you. Well, gentlemen, a bit careless with your collateral, but I'd say you acquitted yourself nicely. I'll consider this contract complete. Let's get you out of here. We'll evacuate the rest of the planet once we're back in orbit. Glory to the Deliverer! Glory to the Imperium! I made it! I made it! Also, level up. Very nice. Level 25. I'll have to check my charts. But first, Rogue Trader salvage rights. Let's see what we got. The symbol of torment. This is how the Dark Ones mark the arenas that serve to nourish their withered souls. What, the barbed wire bow? Yeah, I guess that tracks. Shoot.
Failure is just a temporary setback.
Right. Bust out the multi-keys. Oh, for goodness sake, guys, come on. We are still making checks, though. Okay. Hey, there we go. Which nets us a unique Drukhari poisoned blade, which none of us can use, and a melt-a-charge. We'll take it. A massive crusher designed to extract ore from rocks is covered with a thick layer of dust and rubble. And roll those corpses. Should be a good source of xenotech. Yeah, nothing we'd actually use, but nonetheless valuable. Fighting Drukhari is a very profitable pursuit. The body was partially flayed, and judging by the amount of blood, the victim was still alive when it happened. I mean, of course it was. How do you feed on suffering if your victim's already dead? The man died clutching his intestines as they spilt from his lacerated stomach. Hunter Carapace. Unique medium, decent armor. Plus 10% armor if the wearer is in half cover. Interesting. Yeah, a bit too fiddly for my liking. I feel like we've got better options. Looks nice, though. I like the pouches. The body is missing parts of its extremities. It was hacked to pieces with dozens of strikes. See, that feels a lot cruder. That was probably something the gladiators did. There is no doubt the Dark Ones left satisfied. We treated them to an exquisite feast of pain and misery. Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't really see a lot of alternatives aside from maybe glassing the entire area from orbit. And where's the fun in that? The sacred engine meant to work in the quarry has not been used for a long time. Okay, I think we're good. Not much in the way of grand loot, but the Xenotechs, as aforementioned, certainly welcome. That's good fodder for trading to both the Explorators and the Kaspolika. And you know, as far as the fight goes, again, definitely messier than I would have liked, but that's just the inherent nature of dealing with Dark Eldar. They are singularly unpleasant individuals.
Keep your wits about you.
That's pretty much their whole thing. Oh ho, and Viabos 6 is now an actual colony. Well, that's a pleasant surprise. I don't think that was the case back in Alpha. Punishment of the Thinkers. Viabos 6 needs new convicts. Various dangerous literates and idle thinkers could supplement the workforce. I don't know about that one. I feel like enemy of knowledge doesn't really jive with Valen's whole thing. What else we got? Punishment of the Outsiders. The quarries can be filled with prisoners taken from foreign worlds. You know, I feel like that one's not really Valen compatible either. Punishment by calculation. Purchasing foreign criminals is a potential solution to this problem. Okay. I mean, still technically human trafficking and putting people to an essential glorified long-term death sentence, but these are convicted criminals, albeit foreign ones. Oh boy. Fucking Warhammer 40k. You know what? I will maybe think on this one for a bit. But we will get something going before we depart the sector. And then we've got this new contract here, Inspection Master, which is also for human trafficking. Cool, yeah. 7 people in exchange for 3 profit factor. Well, you know what? That's an easy no, an easy pass, I think, because we do not even have that many people. Also, I think that's like the third person just straight up asking to buy people from us. Yeah, that one turns people into food. And that one is blood for oil. Cool. Yeah, that's all perfectly normal and cool stuff that I will certainly take under consideration. Thank you for your interest. I gotta go. I got things and stuff, and actually, you know what? Let's hit the pause button real quick. I'll figure out what we're doing with those level ups, and then maybe the colonies. One sec. And we're back. Alright, existential crisis complete. Let's get this colony project going. Because, yeah, you know, after looking back on it, the third one, punishment by calculation. Yeah, that's pretty much the only one of these 3 that's even remotely Valen compatible. But, you know, we'll take some liberties with the exact definition of what we're doing here. Purchasing known criminals with the chance that they might work off their sentences if they avail themselves. I mean, it certainly happened before, and we just freed a bunch of guys just now in exchange for their services rendered. I mean, look, the penal colony is already in place. We're just trying to make the best of a really messed up situation here. Hey, Ellie Belly, what's up, baby? Hey, cutie. I mean, yeah, it's either this or just don't use this colony, so needs must when the devil drives. On a similar note, whilst we're doing morally questionable things, you know what? We're going to go ahead and get Doctrine of Rationality going as well, which trades people for efficiency, and, you know, again, we'll take some liberties with exactly how we define this one. We'll say that Valen is not going after people who are simply laggards or working below optimal efficiency levels, but rather he's going after people who are very deliberately counterproductive to the flourishing of his various worlds. The scammers, the opportunists, the would-be rivals who rise up to try to leech off of the things he's building without his express blessings to do so. I mean, he's not above bending or breaking Imperial doctrine when need be, you know, but he does it for greater and often altruistic purposes. And then aside from that, we'll say he's not going to be mass servitorizing anyone. I feel like I've made my opinions pretty clear on that. Rather, these will all be for the penal colonies. We just got one. So might as well put these people to use. With, again, chances for parole if they avail themselves admirably. Anyway, I feel like that's enough jumbled words to make me feel slightly better about this. So yeah, we're trading 2 people for +3 efficiency. Yay! Yay, efficiency. And moving right along. Next up, we've got our level ups, and these are actually very straightforward, because level 25, we just get 1 full talent slot. And on top of that, given what we literally just went through, keep your distance. Which is honestly a hilarious one, and one I've had on my list for a while now. So this seems like a good time to grab it, if we've got more Drukhari on the horizon. That'll make it ever so slightly harder for enemies to just run right up on our snipers. Or at least Valen. But, with that in mind, Yearly Yet will similarly be grabbing Withdraw, which, while not quite as funny as Keep Your Distance, does have a vaguely similar effect. It allows her to immediately react when an enemy tries to pin her in melee. Beyond that, we'll go ahead and do Abby next. And nothing much to say here. I mean, he will, of course, continue being a taunting tank. Now supplemented with Center of Attention, which grants a stacking bonus to armor for every enemy he currently has successfully taunted. Then we have the Grand Strats, and as usual, they're all focused on their own things. Cassia will, of course, be going for another Navigator power. Pass Unscathed, which I believe is the last of her defensive substitute talents. In this case, keying her dodge off perception instead of agility, which I believe is a 100% increase, 60 versus 30. Plus, of course, the usual bonuses that come from stacking yet another Navigator talent. After that, we have Pask. And I will say, I was a bit on the fence with this one, because it was kind of a toss-up. I almost went Manipulator push. But ultimately, given that we just switched him off to heavy armor, I think it's got to be Steel of the Forge. That's a nice, broad set of bonuses just for wearing heavy armor. But yeah, after this, I think it'll all be melee or Melta stuff. I really would like to give that multi-Melta a shot. Which brings us to Adira. And of course she will stay focused on her psychic stuff. Though I will say I feel like we are kind of getting into the dregs here. I feel like we've taken most of the more overtly useful ones. But we'll go ahead and bank Warp Minds. That's a modest debuff on all enemies for every 6 powers Adira uses during battle. Which, based on how frequently we use her, would actually come down to about once every 2 rounds. So, you know, it does add up. Good for those longer, more grueling gauntlets. At least in theory. I mean, it certainly can't hurt. And that's it. Level up complete. 2 new projects in the queue. Mortis ACs aced. So I feel like this is a good place to call it. We'll hit the pause button for now. I will take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping. Possibly do some trading. We did just pick up a fair bit of Xenotech. Though I do think the big thing that's holding us back right now is actually our profit factor. But yeah, I'll take care of all that stuff off screen, and we will pick up here next time. As we set our sights on Ophidian 5? Yeah, close enough. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Even the miscreants of this place do not deserve such a fate.